The team has uncovered evidence on both sides of their NASA investigation. Evidence that may explain reported astronaut sightings and NASA videos. But some astronauts remain adamant that the UFO phenomenon is a reality, and that NASA has known about their sightings from the very beginnings of manned space missions. NASA pilot Joseph Walker told the National Conference on the Peaceful Uses of Space Search that he had filmed 5 cylindrical objects during his historic flight in April 1962, when his X-15 climbed 50 miles above the Earth's surface. Then he told the stunned audience that the previous month he had filmed 2 disc-shaped objects. Only one still image was ever released by NASA. Walker's statement was a rare discussion by a NASA pilot regarding sightings of UFOs, and not the only one. Gordon Cooper, one of the astronauts from NASA's original Mercury project, claimed to have witnessed several strange aircraft throughout his career.
They're just typical saucer shape, double lenticular shape, metallic. So I knew that we didn't have any vehicles of that kind, and I was 99.9% sure that the Russians didn't have any of that type either.
And according to his memoirs, he said that NASA and the government, quote, swept these and other sightings under the rug.
Gordon Cooper was very bitter that the secret had been kept from the American public, and he went so far as to address the United Nations about this topic.
There's no way within the military or within the government of keeping track of something that is classified, unless you're directly involved in it, and I was not.
Frankly, I don't see why they would be wanting to fabricate this kind of material. It's almost a negative career-wise for them to be coming forward with this sort of evidence.
In 2008, yet another former NASA astronaut has come forward.
I'm Dr. Brian O'Leary, former NASA astronaut. Not only is the phenomenon very real, but there's also a very elaborate cover-up.
Brian O'Leary, a NASA astronaut from 1967 to 1968, originally slated for a manned mission to Mars, has also come forward, but he wasn't always a believer.
I myself was once a skeptic, totally rejected the UFO phenomenon. I thought they were hallucinations, marsh gas, Venus. I was on Carl Sagan's bandwagon during the 1960s, and while I was an astronaut. After I left NASA, I really began to learn what it's like to be the target of scoffing by people who would normally be my friends, my colleagues, just because I would inquire into areas that were outside of their box of inquiry.
But were these attitudes passed on to all astronauts, or just to those who were interested in UFOs?
Some of my fellow astronauts and scientist astronauts who did go up and who have observed things, very clearly they were told not to report it.
It is these reports which leave UFO researchers and other experts without a solid answer to their biggest question. Why does NASA continually avoid the subject of UFOs?
We've got documents here, the Condon reports, the testimony of Ed White and James McTivitt, the UFOs they saw. I think I've moved beyond believing that there are mere contradictions in NASA's UFO policies to believing that there may in fact be some kind of UFO cover-up.
Cover-up at NASA? I doubt it. I'm not sure there is that much on record to cover up at NASA, besides some of these sort of very spurious videos and a few testimonies.
What about the testimony of the astronauts themselves? I mean, can you ignore that?
You can't ignore it, no.
Has NASA already gained knowledge of extraterrestrial intelligence? The team believes that until all NASA photographs and video evidence are released and open discussions on the events are allowed, the NASA files will remain open.